Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video we'll be talking about a snowstorm that will be affecting a large portion of the country. It has increased in intensity or forecasted intensity and forecasted snow amounts very drastically in the last 24 to 48 hours. We will be talking about that. And this snowstorm, unlike the other past snowstorm videos I've made, could be occurring in areas that typically don't see such snow in April. I'll show you that. Definitely something if you live across the Midwest, the Great Lakes area, you want to hear this out. And also a very cold pattern, lots of frost potentially, and just a interesting April pattern, right? So if you guys enjoy these type of videos, enjoy this channel at any point while watching this video, consider subscribing, and obviously make sure you like this video if you enjoy the content. Otherwise, let's get into this and start talking about this potential ruining snowstorm of spring. It's going to ruin spring. Okay, so notice that the National Weather Service, the map, there's not much going on. We have some flash flood watches, severe thunderstorm warnings off the coast of Louisiana, frost advisories in Kansas, so you can see already a cool, chilly night. We're definitely in a chilly pattern right now, but you can see it's just a frost. It's not like a freeze. It's 33 degrees, which if you have like squashes or really tender plants, they will freeze up. However, most plants will be fine. Notice Northwest Indiana, Michigan, Southern Michigan, extreme Northwestern Ohio, they do have a frost for 32 degrees. But the big deal is this snow storm, right? Let's take a look at the European model and see how things play out. This is, again, a very good model. A lot of people like it and use it. So some people say it's the best weather model available, and I would say I agree. Notice, there we have the low pressure going down from the south. This is kind of the precursor to the main event. Really, it'll help strengthen this system, which is pretty much the cold front of this low pressure. Because behind this low pressure, this snowstorm will be very cold air, unfortunately, and that's probably the worst part. Notice, right, that we see this low pressure delivering pretty heavy snow into the arrowhead of Minnesota, but mainly southern Canada. Look at that cold front. There's very cold air here. If I were to take on the 2-meter temperature anomalies at that time frame, you would see what happens. Look at that. We just see a blast, a classic spring Arctic, cold front. I mean, that's pretty darn chilly. Nothing, I would say, historic, but look at those anomalies. Dropping, temperatures from above average to well below average within a matter of hours. This thing will be fast moving, unfortunately. So we'll get pretty far south. But I guess that's a good thing, as hopefully we'll be out of here quickly. But again, that isn't clear yet, as it will be at least sticking on for a few days. Notice, right, there's a low pressure dropping snow through Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, getting into Nebraska, almost Kansas. You can see into the plains, into South Dakota. This is where things take an interesting turn. Earlier on in the week, we were thinking that this low pressure system would bring snow potentially to, say, Chicago, Milwaukee, Iowa, Detroit, Indy, right, Kansas City, the areas in Kansas, Wichita, Topeka, with just a cold front that was a bit of snow with it, and it kind of just went through. However, the models now are showing this system developing and strengthening into this type of hook low pressure that could deliver pretty good amounts of snow for a large area. Let's take a look at this. Again, some models are showing like a foot of snow across portions of Michigan. I don't think it will be that aggressive, but this is what the Euro thinks, right? So notice a bit of scattered rain late Monday, already starting to show some precip. Then we see that low pressure, the second part of that system. Look at that. That's at least a few hours of very heavy snow for Kansas City, Wichita, Topeka. So if you live across Kansas, almost 100% of Kansas will be seeing snow. Maybe extreme southeastern Kansas will get some rain and get missed by that. But if you live across Kansas, get ready, you're going to get snow. It will be falling early Tuesday for you. And then for Kansas City, you're seeing snow, and you couldn't get it all season, right? All winter. Now you're getting snow and you at least want it. Notice that is into Tuesday afternoon for Kansas City, and look what happens as it moves upwards. It starts strengthening. We see this tail kind of develop, and we see very heavy snow, potentially some pretty gusty winds into Tuesday at around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So again, this snow is falling without problem Tuesday midday, so it's not even during the night. It'll be cold enough for this to be falling during the day. And look at that. It speeds across into Indiana, right into Michigan. Look at that. A bit of transitioning maybe of some snow mix to the south, but a lot of these locations are in for some good snow. Chicago, it's going to be snowing from late Tuesday morning into, look at that, late Tuesday afternoon, and this system completely turns vertical. Look at that by Indiana. By the time it reaches Ohio, northern Indiana, Michigan can be stuck in a potential full-fledged blizzard, especially if this high pressure becomes very strong and it creates like this alley. At this point, it doesn't look like a blizzard will be occurring, but some gusty winds with that very heavy wet snow. Pushing this into now Wednesday morning, right? So this is 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Detroit just got done with probably seeing several inches, if not over 6 inches plus, with this system as it moves into Canada and continues to strengthen. Some thunderstorms, some pretty strong thunderstorms possible across southern northeast, the southern kind of New England area, and into Canada as it shoves aside. But some models show a pretty strong system out of the remnants of this system across the kind of Canadian Maritimes into the Northeast. So that definitely could be something to watch for. Notice that the European keeps things active for sure. Here's a large low pressure it shows by next weekend, around 7 days away. And that one is very strong. High winds, some sort of a large nor'easter possibly. And then in the future, warmer air for sure. As you can see in the 2-meter temperature anomalies, it starts off right this weekend will be pretty good for most, but then by tomorrow into Monday the cold starts penetrating. Look at that. By Tuesday it's very cold. That snow is falling across Chicago, right? Potentially southeastern Iowa, Milwaukee, the Quad Cities, Indianapolis, maybe more of Fort Wayne, kind of northern Indiana, South Bend into Detroit. And look at that, the nighttime temperatures during Tuesday into Wednesday could be pretty darn chilly. Look at that. That is uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. If you have fruit trees, any of that kind, across these locations, especially away from, say, the lake, it could get very, very cold, and that will be unfortunate, as a lot of trees and fruits and various shrubs have really budded early because of that 7-degree temperature string that we saw early April, and now we have a frost. And as soon as I saw that there were 70-degree temperatures in early April, I knew that it would be pretty cursed year, as it's for past 4 or 5 years here, at least in the Midwest, it's been without fail that April has had these like cool shots of air, and they always end up biting up and frosting up a bit of the vegetation. I do want to say that the last 3 years here in my area, Chicago, we've seen, or potentially 3 years if this snowstorm comes true, we will be seeing more snow in April for the 3rd year in a row than in December. And the only time, and it's happened 3 times in a row, right? And it's only happened once ever before that. And that was like something like in the middle of the 19th or 20th century. So it is definitely a very unusual occurrence, and the probabilities of that occurring are very low. But again, I mean, statistically, right, in terms of what's actually going to happen, the 3rd one is possible and not, if not likely, because our December snowfall total here was 2.9. This snowstorm could leave up to 6 inches here. Okay, notice, right, the temperatures come back, the warmer ones, at least, not frost, they kind of get pushed up to the north. You're all probably wondering, what's the snowfall? Come on, show us. All right, so 10-1 is pretty accurate, as it will be pretty warm when this is falling. Probably they will be a bit higher, or sorry, a bit lower than this. So say if you have, look at that, I mean, Detroit 5-6 inches, maybe something closer to like 4 to 3. But then like Chicago, right, 4 or 5 inches. Again, I would say 2 to 4 inches is a pretty good guess. I should bet. Southern Michigan, Indiana could get the brunt of this, and then again several inches, potentially over 6 inches. And then Kansas, Missouri, 4-5 inches. This is just the one model, the European. The GFS speeds this system up. The GFS model has a very strong system and actually shows more snow. However, the National Weather Service that I was reading on a forecast discussion, at least for my area, said that the European model is probably a bit more accurate, as the system will be a bit slower moving, and that's why it could take a bit of a more northern track, kind of along with that cold front. And notice that the GFS, whatever happens, still shows snow, and it favors cities like Detroit, northern Indiana. Look at that, 12 inches plus. I mean, it's a GFS, so it's probably a bit biased, but like, or probably a bit overhyping, as the GFS does. But the GFS, this model has been doing very good this winter so far, or thus far. It's almost over, right? But look at that, Kansas, Kansas, 4 inches. Again, Detroit, 6 inches. So if I were to turn on the Kuchera, which will probably be a bit more accurate, you could still see though many locations over 6 inches, and oh my goodness, 9 inches. That'll definitely be down into the history books, at least in some way. I want to play the GFS out for you. There's our cold front. Very powerful, two kind of systems. The first one drags off, and the second one has chance to intensify. You can see it takes a more southern track. Look at that. Boom, into Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, seeing good amounts of pretty heavy and feisty snow. Look at that. Those snowfall rates right there would be very, very strong. That's the other thing I want to mention. Potentially 1 to 3 inches, 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour, especially during those bands once it reaches Ohio, Michigan area and kind of starts intensifying. Again, depending on the model, the GFS favors those heavy amounts a bit more. Notice Toronto, right? Montreal, Quebec, all those cities pick up a bit of snow and precip as well. And the GFS does keep things active. You can see kind of these cool masses continue to pivot through, but no large snowstorms, at least that far to the south. But it does show snow further to the north. And I think this was the one model that actually favored, okay, no, so that was a Canadian, which I'll show you in just a bit. But look at that. Towards the end, very warm pattern, thunderstorms, and a classic May pattern. So, I mean, even if this does occur, it's probably not going to last for long, obviously, but the damage will be done if it does end up sniping a lot of those fruit trees and whatever it may be that you're protecting. This is a Canadian, right? Really good model, has done a great job this past winter. Notice there's our two systems. Here's our cold front, and you can see we have that bit of snow stretching all the way into Iowa, Nebraska already by Monday afternoon. And by Tuesday, this thing stretches out into Illinois, Indiana, and look at that. Kansas under the brunt of the snow Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, they're mainly out of it. But look, this thing moves to the north. Boom. Illinois, Indiana. Again, favoring Detroit. Detroit could unfortunately get hammered by this system. Some models are showing some pretty staggering amounts. And you can see the Canadian warms things up, but it does keep that cold air there. So some additional snowstorms are possible, just maybe a bit further to the north. Winter, let's go to the total snowfall. That's what I meant. GDPS Canadian. Look at that, right? So it misses kind of the Chicago area or Milwaukee with the heaviest areas, with the heaviest snow. But Kansas City, maybe St. Louis, Indianapolis kind of on its cusp, Cleveland maybe a bit, Detroit, look at that. Getting into Toronto with the foot plus amount of snow. That is not something anyone would like to see. Okay, let's take a look at this. Our AP model wrap. It's a high res. I like it a lot. I think, oh wait, sorry. That's a very high res. I wanted to look at this one, which goes out to 84 hours. Starts showing us some of the system, not the full extent. It's still occurring. It doesn't go out as far as to show how much snow falls in Detroit. But you can see it favors a kind of more of a GFS track. But there are pockets of, that very heavy snow, just maybe a bit further to the south. So I guess that's good news if you don't want snow for southern Wisconsin. But it's bad news if you're in St. Louis or central Illinois with, leaves on everything and you don't want snow on that. So this is how the radar will play out according to this model. Look at that. We passes through. There's our first one. There's our second one. Getting into the panel of Oklahoma and potentially Texas. And this thing rides right through into Illinois, Indiana, right? And it really intensifies here. This is looking kind of nasty. We'll have to see what it does once it goes out further. NAM, another equally good, I would say, high-res model, though I do tend to favor the RDPS a bit more. Notice, there it is. There's our cold front, starts developing. It really keeps us aggressive, the NAM. Again, the NAM does have a cold bias, but in this case, it's not really a cold versus, or, rain versus snow. It's just, the track, which I guess makes things a bit easier. You can see it definitely favors a more northern track, so this would favor southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois with that heavy snow, also affecting more of Des Moines, more of Iowa, and more of northern Missouri rather than central Illinois. And it does eventually go into Michigan, but favors Detroit as rain. Again, I don't think this is really a likely scenario, as this is kind of an outlier with its track. However, taking a look at it, you can see heavy snowfall amounts are possible, and this time favoring 11 inches for Chicago, which probably won't happen. But I would say definitely, over half a foot is possible. So remember how I used to look at the ensembles during times of big winter storms? All right, so I'll show you them. And this is the European ensembles, all averaged together in one model. So this is 51 models of the European. Look what they show as a average, right? So this is some models are technically, theoretically, half show above, half show below, but it could be skewed by say one showing extreme amounts of snow, which are unlikely. But look at this. 2, 3 inches through Kansas, Missouri. This is a pretty good agreement along most of the models, getting towards that 6 inch mark across Chicago, and then into Michigan, 6, 7 inches, which again, I think these could drastically shoot up. And towards the longer range, snow towards the north, but again, I mean, obviously diminishing as we're pushing into May at this point. Let's take a look at the individual models. This video is a bit longer today. I do apologize. It's just because we have this unique event going on. So this is next 15-day snowfall. I don't want you to focus on any other snow events, which some of the models show, across weird locations because this goes out so far out. Just focus on this stripe. Notice a lot of them keep it relatively weak up until it reaches the Indiana, Michigan area, which could drop quite a bit of snow. But look at that, right? Look at this one. I mean, it favors over a foot across Illinois. And then as we push this forward, the next model shows still heavy amounts, just not as wild, right? And some are just more reasonable, which what the National Weather Service thinks will happen at this point. Kind of a track like this, a wide swath of 3 to 4, but again, favoring some 5 to 6 inch amounts towards Michigan. But you'll get a hang of this. Look at that one. That's an aggressive scenario. This one's a bit scattered, more aggressive into Canada. Look at that one, kind of in between, definitely more on the still aggressive side, and you get the trend. There's a lot of different variations, but they all show some sort of snow for this swath. And look at Kansas also, into Missouri, decent amounts. So definitely something that we should be watchful for. The GFS models aren't as excited, which is a good thing, honestly. I want to take a look at the Great Lakes, as that's kind of where this will be occurring. At least like the strongest part. And notice that this is what they show. So a lot of them show snow, but it's much weaker and scattered and not as well put together. The strongest scenarios, something like this, which every other European ensemble shows something like that. So definitely less excited. But again, the National Weather Service is unfortunately leaning towards a European ensemble. So it's not unfortunately because they want to. It's based on data that they've analyzed and other outside models. So not good, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully stay safe. I do want to say that if the snow and frost do occur, take preventative action for your plants, shrubs, whatever it may be, because you don't want this catching you off guard. So yeah, if you live in Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Kansas City, Wichita, Topeka, all my viewers from Michigan, Indiana, Northern Indiana, get prepared. This will be a potentially, especially for Indiana and Michigan, a potentially historic April snowstorm. Yeah, thank you for watching. Catch you all guys in the next episode. See y'all.